You're tuned in to the Foxboro BeatCast, a podcast for Patriots fans by Patriots fans. And here are your hosts, is Kaleb McChesney and Ryan Moore.
Hello and welcome to the Foxboro BeatCast, everybody. I'm your host, Kaleb McChesney. Alongside me is my co-host, Ryan Moore. Ryan, how are you this fine Wednesday, almost afternoon?
I could be worse, could be better. Patriots game didn't inspire a lot of confidence this week.
Yeah, we'll have plenty to complain about.
Yeah.
The Patriots dropped to 1-3 on Sunday, disastrous fashion. 38-3 loss to the Dallas Cowboys in Arlington last weekend. On top of that, Christian Gonzalez is out for the year. Matt Judon is likely to miss most of the year, if not all of it. And the narratives around the team are as low as they've been since Brady walked away from Foxboro in March of 2020. We'll get to that. We'll get to some other topics as we move through the show. To start it off, let's discuss the trade that went down this morning. J.C. Jackson brought back to the New England Patriots. The official terms, I think, were a 6th and a 7th going back to L.A., or was it a swap of a 6th and the 7th?
So the Patriots will get LA's 2025 7th rounder, and the Patriots are sending out a 2025 6th rounder.
Gotcha. And the Chargers are paying the bulk of that contract. I think we owe J.C. Jackson something like somewhere between $12 and $14 million. My takeaway of the trade is, look, we gave up some day 3 picks at the end of we gave up a day 3 pick at the end of the draft next year, 2025, for a solid B tier corner that can kind of play up. He's going to have his moments. He's going to be a little streaky. He's a little bit of a troublemaker off the field. He has the arrest warrant in Massachusetts for failure to appear in court. But assuming that's all settled and assuming that Belichick wouldn't go touch it with a 10-foot pole if it wasn't clear, tells me that it's fine. And we got a solid corner in the loss of Christian Gonzalez. I think J.C. Jackson, he's fast, he's aggressive. He was called Mr. INT during his tenure here for a reason. Obviously, the downside is that Stephon Diggs kind of owns him, and we have to deal with Buffalo without Christian Gonzalez for the rest of the year. But Ryan, I'll pass it to you. What are your initial takeaways from the trade?
Well, when looking at, acquiring the contract, right, because people were shocked. LA basically ate all the money for this deal. And next season, let's say J.C. Jackson's just not anything good. Like, he's washed. Which, honestly, he's coming off a patellar tendon tear, which is one of the worst possible tears you can have as cornerback, or just football player in general. So I think, it's a risk-free move. It reminds me of basically like the Jason McCourty move back in 2018, where they just said, you know what, we'll swap late-round picks with each other. We're going to get the better player, but you're moving on from this guy regardless. So take some value while you can get it. All in all, you can't hate the move. If it doesn't work out, you don't face any cap penalties for cutting him next year. It is what it is. There's worse players to acquire out there. There's probably better, but with Christian Gonzalez gone, familiarity can't hurt. Welcome back, JC.
Yeah, I think if you're going to make a direct comparison, if you weren't familiar with J.C. Jackson, you're kind of looking at a taller Jack Jones here, assuming that he has all of his athletic ability back. The Chargers have been really patient with bringing him back from that tear. Obviously, he struggled in L.A., but hopefully we kind of have this like Jamie Collins effect where he is much better in New England than he is anywhere else, and we get him for the discount, and it's great. But I think that pretty much summarizes what we got here. We're looking, our cornerback room isn't as bad as it really could have been following this Christian Gonzalez injury, which we'll get to in a little bit. But there's your J.C. Jackson trade recap. I'm sure we'll talk about it more as we go on in the show. But as usual, we got to talk about the game that happened on Sunday. The offense, I mean, 1 step forward, 15 steps back. It's not looking great. Mac Jones was evading clean pockets, throwing picks. probably his lowest game as a starter here in his young career. And it's probably not really any close. Not that Bailey Zappi did any better, but it's neither here nor there. The run game, is absolutely nothing. There were reports that Zeke was going to get RB1 snaps, and nothing happened. I think, honestly, the game got too out of hand for Zeke to really do anything with those snaps. He didn't have the versatility that Ramondre has that we needed in that pass game when it got so out of hand so quickly. The defense, I mean, I can't really blame them. They gave up 23 points in total. I can't hold that game against them. The game against Dallas was 99% on the offense and 1% on just how much better Dallas is than us, top to bottom. I think that defense that they played on Sunday is looking to be one of the better defenses of the last decade. And I say that with confidence. This Dallas defense is legit. They've beat up on everybody, excluding a fluke game against Arizona, which, Arizona's actually been playing up to a lot of their competition this year. So how much flack do you really want to give Dallas for that? But no, it's probably the lowest vibe that I've had around this team since Brady left coming out of that game. If you have any takeaways, please, the stage is yours, Ryan. Let's hear it from you.
Honestly, that was probably the worst loss of the Belichick era.
I mean, statistically, it's true.
And I think the way they played, because people will look at 2014 Kansas City. I want to say there's a blowout 2003 in Buffalo.
Nope, that was Buffalo, second worst probably.
Boat raced the shit out of New England.
Yeah. The Laurie Malloy game.
Yeah. But I think in terms of the Patriots just getting outclassed on every single level to a point where it's like, dude, I don't see any hope. Because at least in 2014, you know what? It's like, well, we have Tom Brady at least. Like, everyone's calling him washed, but come on, it's Tom Brady. 2003, that was like what, week one?
Week one.
Yeah. This here, well, yeah, it's week 4. I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel right now. I don't see anybody that could come in and be like, I'm the savior of this team right now, or I don't see anybody that could be like, well, you know what? I'm playing like shit, but I can, I'm going to flip the switch. And it makes it even worse, as we're going to talk about later, when you lose your 2 best defensive players in the same fucking game.
And you know what? Not even just your best defensive players. They're the best players on the team this year.
Yeah.
Just bar none.
Balls. Yeah. It's just it's brutal, man. Brutal. No light at the end of the tunnel right now, man. It fucking sucks. It's all I got, really.
And if
what can I analyze? Really, Mac Jones played like shit. That and I know I've been a very vocal critic saying I don't think he's the future of the team. That was the worst football game I've ever seen him play. Just piss poor awareness, piss poor decision making.
He was really uncharacteristic that whole game. It was very much not what we've come to know. Like, we've come to know, like, his downfalls are really just physical. He's not a superb athlete. He's not a superb thrower of the football. But what makes Mac Jones special as a first round talent was he doesn't do that. He doesn't collapse. And that's kind of what we saw.
Honestly, I saw some warning signs, though, over the past year and a half or whatever, where when he gets rattled, he'll make really bad decisions. And Dallas rattled him right away. And this is where we go back to the bad O-line play, right? You get him hit a couple times, you get him, you force him to speed up his clock. And I don't know if he has the processing ability to, elevate that kind of stuff. Like, you look at in Houston, CJ Stroud, he's playing behind a terrible O-line, terrible, offense, and he's killing it right now because he has that mental clock that can, hey, I can speed this up if I need to. It's not ideal, but, his his brain operates at a faster level. Mac, I'm seeing this guy, and it feels like his brain slows down when he's supposed to speed up. That's what made Brady so special, was his brain, even when he was getting crushed a lot, he was getting the ball out so goddamn quickly that you couldn't really hit him. Like, even if the O-line was terrible. Mac tends to hold on to the ball when, he shouldn't. Like that the strip sack where I think Dallas turned for a touchdown, right?
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing? Throw that away. You're looking like a CPU generated quarterback on like the old Madden games, like NCAA, where you're like, what should I do? What should I do? Oh shit!
That was a younger Daniel Jones play.
Yeah. Wow.
Daniel Jones now, he doesn't fumble as much. I think it's a lot of just he's not playing good, but he was a turnover machine early in his career.
Yeah, that's just brutal, man. That not impressive, Mac. The offense, they need a savior badly. I've seen a lot of people talk about, well, Tyquan Thornton. Really, we're gonna put this all on Tyquan Thornton. And I like Tyquan. I mean, but like let's be honest with ourselves. If he's the savior, come on.
He needs to not Tyreek. Tyquan Thornton. If he's gonna be the savior of this offense, he needs to show me something that I haven't seen him do ever.
Yeah,
like not
he
like
needs to turn into.
I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him make a great catch his entire career. I haven't seen him make a
season.
Yeah, he got hurt. And he got hurt.
Yeah.
Just
it's like the N'Keal Harry grab in the preseason. He made a great grab. And he immediately gets hurt.
I'm done on the Tyreek thing. I'm not here for Tyquan Thornton.
Yeah.
But if I'm gonna be Captain Optimism here, the biggest takeaway that you can take away from as a Patriots fan and still feel okay about the rest of the season, which again, it's really hard to do because you lost your two best players and you just got destroyed by a really good Dallas Cowboys team, is that it is week 4. And Dallas is a very, 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 very good football team. And you've played a lot of really good football teams to start out. The first 4 weeks, you played 4 excellent football teams. Well, 3.5. Jets have an excellent defense. It's been a tough out. It really has. And I think coming into the season, you looked at the schedule, you said, you know what, 1-3 probably sounds about right. You beat the Jets, and maybe you think an 0-4 when you have Aaron Rodgers on that other sideline. So already, I think the Patriots have met expectations to a certain level. They are where they've expected, but the loss just didn't look as great as it did. But the first 3 weeks, the offense looked like it flowed better than it did under Matt Patricia. The stats don't tell it because I think Matt Patricia averaged like maybe 5 points more in 2022 than what we're doing right now in 2023, which put as much stock as you want into that. The first 4 weeks of the season last year, we played a horrendously kind of beat up Ravens defense. We beat up the Lions defense, and we beat up the Browns defense for 3 weeks. We've had to play Vic Fangio Dolphins, the Philadelphia Bulldogs over there with the Eagles, the Jets, and now Dallas. It's not an easy out. It's not an easy outing, and 3 out of 4, Mac Jones looked about average, looked like he was coming back to his rookie form. And his stats on the year right now as we speak, he's completing 63.7% of his passes, 898 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and 7 sacks, losing 1 contest by 35 points. The most direct comparison you can make to these kind of stats, as you're comparing to, Patriots of past, is a game we already talked about, a season we already talked about. Tom Brady in 2003. Brady in 2003 was completing 62% of his passes for 848 yards, 50 less than Mac Jones. Same amount of touchdowns with 3 more interceptions, with 3 more sacks taken. The only difference here is that Brady's record in 2003 by the end of week 4 was 2-2, and we are looking at 1-3. And again, this isn't to say that
Well, it's
Mac
also a
Jones
different
is.
era.
This isn't to say that Mac Jones is Tom Brady by any means, and Ryan's right. It is a little bit of a different era, but Brady played four really good defenses to open up that year, and through 2 more picks, had same amount of touchdowns, completing about the same amount of his passes, about the same amount of yards. I'm not going to get overwhelmed about 50 yards. I mean, let's just call it as those stats are pretty even. And the Patriots are playing a similar kind of offense. To tell you the truth, they haven't progressed to in 20 years, but that season ended pretty well, I'd say. And it is week 4. We've got a long way to go. This is, I don't want to say the easy part of our schedule, but this is the part of the schedule where we need to go 6-3, 5-2. And I will leave it there. It's early in the season. I'm not here to call for the tank. I'm not a big tank guy. I'll say it here. I think loser franchises tank. Any team that has tanked hasn't really worked out. Look at the Jags. They haven't really done anything with Trevor Lawrence yet. Look at the Colts. They got 1 Super Bowl out of Peyton Manning, and they got nothing out of Andrew Luck. I mean, the list goes on and on and on about these teams who tank and don't get anywhere. So I'm not here for the tank job. Loser franchises tank. I'd rather you play this out, see how many wins you can get, and something can happen. The NFL season is long. And I get that my voice is really sounding monotone. I'm not usually as enthusiastic as I am about these things, rallying the troops as I have basically from the start here of this season. I have been calling for the wins. I think it can happen. Here's how it can happen. And we come out of this game and the air is kind of let out of the tire a little bit. But I think that's the key takeaway that you need to take out of week 4 if you are looking to be optimistic, is that it is only week 4. We're going into week 5 against a very vulnerable Saints team that I think we can beat in Foxboro. But yeah, I mean, if you have anything to add, please do. But I think I set the stage pretty well for an optimistic outlook for the rest of the week.
You got, I want to say it's the Saints. Is it the Raiders after or the Commanders after?
Saints, Raiders. Let me pull up the schedule and I'll get back to you.
I'll say they play the Commanders in that stretch. Listen, this is the stretch where if you can't beat these teams, just fuck. Do
you want the schedule until we get to the bye?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Keep talking. My phone's being stupid.
Well, listen, this is the part of the schedule, right, where if the Patriots you can't beat, okay, Derek Carr's shoulder is
all right.
toast right now.
Here's the schedule to the bye.
Okay.
Saints at home, Raiders in Vegas, the Bills at home, the Dolphins in Miami, the Commanders at home, the Colts in Germany, bye week. Then 3 games that you need to win. If you lose any of these games, I swear to God. At Giants versus Chargers, at Steelers. You had 2 losses you can give up here, and they're in division. The Bills and the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think we'll damn near schedule those as losses.
You need to go at least 5-2. The next 7 games, you need to go 5-2.
Yeah, this is the part of and if you, for example, the Saints, Derek Carr's shoulder, not too good right now. Saints had a disaster versus the Bucs where they just couldn't get anything going offensively. You need to beat those guys. No excuses. Raiders, come on now. It's a clown show right now in Vegas. Need to beat those guys. Miami and Buffalo. Or Buffalo,
those are
Miami.
Tough games. If you keep it close, I'm pretty proud of you.
Yeah.
If you steal one, I'm enthusiastic as ever. You steal one against Buffalo at home, and I'll admit, if you want me to creep in a little optimism here, Buffalo
beat those guys.
A little up and down this year. A little up and down. They keep you close with some teams that they probably should blow out. And there's a little bit of vulnerability there. There's a little bit of vulnerability there. And I think that at home, a weird division rivalries, and then Miami, you don't have the tough Miami game in December. You get it in October, November. You should be really happy about that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but the weather outside's pretty unseasonably warm. So, shit, you're getting some practice for that. But yeah, no, those games likely will be losses. But if you can steal one, that'd be, especially Buffalo. Fuck the Bills. I'd love to steal that one. Yeah, and then you got the Commanders. I mean, come on. And Sam Howell's looked really impressive, but
It's because of low expectations, not because he's really, really good.
I mean, even then, dude, he was throwing some dots versus Philly.
Yeah.
Wasn't for the fact that a cornerback taken before Christian Gonzalez that I will not name got read so badly by AJ Brown. They might have won that. And then you got the Colts in Germany. I mean, Belichick feasts against rookie quarterbacks, but I mean, Anthony Richardson's a different beast, man.
I mean,
We'll
listen, I'm gonna catch a lot of flack for this take on Anthony Richardson. I'm not impressed.
You're not?
He's very athletic. I'm not impressed with him as a passer right now.
Well, you also got to remember that
I know Belichick
Justin
struggles.
Fields,
I know Belichick struggles against athletic quarterbacks, but
yeah,
he didn't complete 50%. He didn't complete half his passes last week, and that's been the criticism. He can't cross 50%, and when he does, he gets concussed. I don't know. I'm not a buyer on the Anthony Richardson stock yet, and I know we're gonna have a guest on the Colts episode who's gonna tell me I'm full of shit. But yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm impressed with his character and his athleticism so far. Yeah, he's a raw passer, but yeah, no, we'll talk about it a little bit later, I think. Yeah, no, I think though that this is definitely a really winnable stretch where you're gonna have 2 probable losses, maybe a third. I think they will drop one probably. It's one of the teams. But if you want to get back into the season, this is how.
5-2.
If you fuck it up, I'm sorry, guys. It's
5-2. Be 500 by week 11 when you play the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. You'll probably lose, but you need to have that 5-5, 500 record. You'll be right there in the hunt of the playoffs. I guarantee it. I 100% guarantee it. There are teams who have not performed up to their expectations this year. Cincinnati, that's a big one. Yeah. Cincinnati is a huge one. Yeah. The whole AFC South.
Jaguars have not been great.
And the Jets. I mean, who expected that we would, that we'd have the insurance on the Jets? I mean, like I said, 5-2. 5-2. Week 11 versus Kansas City, I think, is the number. I might be skipping out a couple weeks there, but I think you got 5 or 6 winnable games over the next 7-8 games.
I think Kansas City's in late December. Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like we mapped it out that far.
Yeah,
and it's hard to realize that we're already 4 weeks into the year, but I think that covers up our state of the Pat segment. We did our bitching. We did our projecting. I think I don't want to take a whole lot of credit for this, but I think I've created a little bit of optimism here, a little bit more reason to watch, and I'm putting a hold on the tanks. I'm not doing.
Now here comes me to be all negative and be all
Listen, if you want to be negative Nancy and talk about the NFL draft in October, get your own show. But
I will. The Ryan Moore podcast, just Caleb Williams propaganda.
But season's not over. I have not put the eliminated from playoffs next to our name. We are still in it, and I want to see this through. I do. I want to see this through. And so does Bill Belichick after making that trade. And speaking of that trade, we have a little bit of an injury report to go over. Just a little bit before we get to our league-wide roundtable. The Patriots, obviously, they lost first-round rookie cornerback Christian Gonzalez to a torn labrum. He's having surgery. He's going to miss the rest of the year. Matthew Judon, torn bicep, I think, was the diagnosis. He's going to miss significant time, if not all of the year. And the Patriots, what do? They go ahead and they do the aforementioned J.C. Jackson trade. So it looks like Belichick didn't hear no bell. He's going to keep fighting. He's going to win on the margins. Like I said, I think he won on that deal on the margins. It's a little rinky-dink deal, but they have a corner now. Their room was looking real thin coming into this week. So Ryan, aside from J.C. Jackson, obviously, who are some guys that we can expect to kind of lean on this defense and keep us in games like Judon and Gonzalez have?
I think the first player would have to be Keon White. This is his time to step up. He's probably the only one of the few guys in the team that can really kind of play the hybrid, edge D-end role that Matthew Judon has played. This is his time. We've been pumping his tires all preseason. We haven't seen a whole lot of Keon White though. This is
when he has been in there. I think of week 1, he was dominant.
Yeah, he played well week 1.
He was dominant when he got those snaps.
It's time. It's time for him to step up. If you wanna, earn your stripes, man. This is the time. I also think that there's an interesting player the Patriots do have sitting on injured reserve, I think, or the PUP, in Trey Flowers.
Your practice squad, I think.
Is he on the I thought he was on like the injury.
I think the whole thing was whenever he came off of the pup, which I don't know if he has or not, but when he was going to come off, he was going to go to practice squad.
Well, I mean, regardless, I think he's another one of those guys, kind of like a Judon that can fill that kind of, versatile edge setter,
And I think, speaking of the edge rushers, I think somebody to line up alongside Keon White, or maybe opposite, Josh Uche. He's going to have a premier pass rusher role now, I think, because
absolutely
he's probably the closest thing we have to Judon.
In terms of a little more pass rushing, yeah,
and he's a little bit more versatile. I think Uche in coverage isn't a liability.
The problem with Uche though is he gets run off the field. It's always been his weakness. He's not a good run defender, whereas Keon White is definitely a lot more.
That's what I'm saying. We have a nice blend.
Hard edge setter.
We have a nice.
But
blend.
Judon also wasn't the greatest run defender either. Like he was
And Judon was a liability in coverage.
Yeah. So Uche's in a contract year. You want to shine, make some money. It's your time to make some fucking money.
And then in the secondary, I think alongside J.C. Jackson, you're going to get Jack Jones back. Probably this week, maybe next.
So
he's scheduled to come off.
Because I know that players are eligible to come off this.
That's what I mean. He's eligible to come off. I don't know if they've booked him yet or not, but
I did read that his hamstring injury was actually fairly long term. So I don't know. You got Jonathan Jones. He's been out.
Who should be back this week because he was supposed to be back last week.
So I'll say this: if Jack Jones isn't playing, I'm looking at Shaun Wade, someone that's been a bit of a mystery. He was a guy that Patriots fans are shocked was still alive. Quite frankly, comes out of the woodworks. This is a guy that's gonna need to step up. J.C. Jackson. J.C. Jackson's gonna come in this week or a little rusty. It's probably gonna be a lot more Shaun Wade reps because Shaun Wade's, obviously J.C. Jackson is the defense of the system, but you're expecting a whole lot from a guy that just arrived, I assume today or tomorrow. So Shaun Wade's here. He's in the building. He's gonna likely get a lot of bulk reps. So I want to see what he has. He didn't do the worst against Dallas, Obviously, it's
it's hard to take away anything from Dallas.
Yeah.
So.
Miles Bryant, man, I don't want to see any of Miles Bryant. Please, Jonathan Jones, come back. I can't. Marcus Jones.
Miles Bryant. I mean, he's just outclassed by a lot of these guys that we're having him cover.
He just is who he is.
He's not as bad as I think Patriots fans, try to tell us he is. But we're putting him on number one wide receivers and wonder why that happens.
Rinsed by CeeDee Lamb, man. And I was like, oh my god. It's unfair to expect that against Miles Bryant is who he is. He's a limited athlete. He's not the biggest guy. He can cover fairly well, but like I said, when you're a limited athlete, you're not that tall. It's really tough in the NFL level. Yeah, I think, I really don't want to see him all that much. Like, he's the break glass in case of emergency guy. I don't think you should be putting him out there. Hopefully John Jones is back, so we don't have to see a lot of Miles Bryant anymore. I will say there is a wild card player in the secondary that we haven't talked about, but
Go for it.
he's played corner, he's played safety. Jalen Mills.
Yep. We haven't seen him a lot at that free safety spot. That's really been kind of a rotational thing for Duggar and Jabril Peppers.
Yeah. Who both have been playing really well, by the way. Duggar and Peppers have been pretty good. But
you know what I think was a big miss on the free agency wire lately?
Who?
Bringing back Deron Harmon. I think he just signed with Chicago or something.
Well, it's kind of the state of the desperation with the Bears, right? Where they need
but like imagine our secondary with Deron Harmon. Bring him back to play that free safety role, which he was so good at. Like, he was basically he was like the oppo end of Adrian Phillips. Because Adrian Phillips was more of a strong safety. That's something to know. I mean, Deron Harmon, big picks almost. Anytime you needed it, he was there.
He might be the most clutch defensive back I've ever seen.
That was probably a huge miss. We probably should have done everything we could to bring back Deron Harmon to make that flexibility.
Yeah. I always been a big Deron Harmon guy, but it's
Rutgers guy, isn't he?
It is Rutgers. Him, Logan Ryan, Steve Belichick, Devin McCourty,
Jason McCourty.
Jason, yeah.
But those are some players that we're looking to elevate on the defense, keep them afloat. And I think they're in solid position to do that. It's a nice tune-up game against New Orleans, who couldn't get anything going on offense last week. But before we preview that, and before we do that, we've got our weekly NFL roundtable. Let's go over what happened last week. Obviously, the Giants are in a bit of a state of despair. The Broncos pick up their first win, right? Their first win against Chicago. Yep. The Jets, Zach Wilson, looked like a half-decent quarterback on Monday Night Football. Ryan, let's go with it. What were some takeaways you had?
Okay, well, the first takeaway I have is that the New York Giants are fucking bad.
Really bad.
Bad overall football team. They are terrible, man. Their O-line's trash. Weapons trash. Daniel Jones looked like trash. No Saquon Barkley. Offense can't get anything going. Since we're talking about that game, I'm going to shout out my guy Devin Witherspoon, who was my favorite prospect in the draft last year. There was a little bit of a debate between him and Gonzo for cornerback one. I sided with Devin Witherspoon, admittedly. Big Gonzo guy, though, of course. I called him Defensive Rookie of the Year last week, and now he's
you cursed him. That's what happened. You cursed him.
I did curse him. But you know what? No, I won't say it to preserve my guy. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it about Devin Witherspoon. I don't want to curse him like I did Gonzo. I'll just say he is fucking electric, man. He was crushing Daniel Jones. He was crushing any receiver that, dared to run on his path. He had the big pick six. This guy's a rock star, man. One of my favorite football players in the league right now to watch. If you get a Seahawks game, watch out for Devin Witherspoon. This guy's electric.
We'll be seeing him next year. I think we have the NFC West on rotation.
Oh shit. He's gonna hit whoever a quarterback is, probably Mac Jones, the spear, man. Oh my god. Yeah, I would say I'm gonna talk about Denver as well, because I said, well, they can't be this bad forever. They almost lost to the Chicago Bears, and I think in Denver they need to fire Vance Joseph so badly, man. This guy he's not an NFL coach.
Remember, they didn't want to bring back Vic Fangio because they were afraid of how the fans would receive it. How do you think they feel now?
They brought back Vance Joseph.
Yeah.
What the fuck? This guy's awful, man. You make,
Unbelievable.
I'm looking at my fantasy bench. I have 2 bench warmers of the week because I benched both DJ Moore and Cole Kmet. And they're looking like, 98 Randy Moss and 2011 Gronk out there. Fucking unbelievable, man. Like, and I said, well, Denver can't be this bad forever. Like, it was a fluke win, a fluke comeback win. Their offense is looking better, but at the same time, it's against the Bears. If your defense is getting rinsed this badly, man, yikes. Just yikes.
Yeah.
It's unwatchable. Fire Vance Joseph.
I think some of my my takeaways from week 4 that weren't Patriots related. I'd like to revise my take on Detroit. I said I wasn't a huge buyer of them. They go into Lambeau, kick the crap out of a Packers team that looked like it was a seamless transition from Rodgers to Love. Not that I'm out on Love. I think he's got some room to grow. He wasn't as polished as we thought, which is fine. Sometimes you have that. Yeah, you catch magic in a bottle. But the Lions look like they're legit, and they look like they're gonna. They might just run away with this division, with the disappointment of the Vikings and the Packers finally coming back to earth a little bit. Shout out to the Vikings picking up their first win. That's huge. And Aiden O'Connell looked all right in Vegas.
AOC Revolution's coming soon.
He looked all right. I don't think he's ready to take on a full-time job yet or anything, but you could see a Garoppolo-like arc for that kid of sitting behind the starter a little bit. Then when he's out of town, he eventually becomes a successor without the "I'm going to play till 40" thing that happened in New England. But no, the AOC looks pretty good, and Brandon Staley should be fired again. It is coaching malpractice over there in Los Angeles. Not that the Chargers lost last weekend, but the Chargers should be way better than they are with that talent.
Just a point on Jordan Love. The Packers O-line, man, was so abysmal.
Well, the Detroit pass rush is also pretty good.
It's pretty good, but man, Jordan Love had no time to do anything. You know what? I did say the Packers would win the NFC North. I might have to revise that as well after that loss. What I will say, though, is I think a lot of people are dragging really hard on Jordan Love. I don't think it's necessarily his fault in Green Bay right now. Yeah, there's some inaccuracies and stuff, but the pass rush getting to town, or getting there so fast there is just, it's brutal. It's just brutal, man. It's causing a lot of sloppy throws, sloppy plays. We'll see. He's really talented, though. He's got the touchdown efficiency. Just needs to fix the terrible O-line.
Terrible O-line and improve the accuracy. I'm with you. But you know what? It's fine. This is his first stint as the full-time starter. Let's see him grow a little bit. Let's see what happens between now and the end of the year, and then 2024 is the real show. That's when you find out if Jordan Love is your guy or not. So I think that's fair. But you know who doesn't play fair? The New Orleans Saints. Yeah, the Bounty Gate crisis. I'm bringing that back. I'm going to point that out to Saints fans. But the Patriots are back at Foxboro, looking to rebound against the Saints, who are also 1-3, I believe. Derek Carr has battled injury in the first year in the Bayou. Yeah. Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, and Alvin Kamara are a talented offensive core, and the Saints defense is always a force to be reckoned with. And, Marshawn Lattimore, Cameron Jordan, DeMario Davis. And I believe the Honey Badger is still there, right, Tyrann Mathieu?
Honey Badger is there.
They'll make life difficult for Mac Jones in the offense. So, Ryan, what are some things the Pats can do to right the ship, get the win, and spark a little bit of a pushback?
I'm gonna have to say they're gonna have to hit the shit out of Derek Carr. As long as he's out there, do what the Titans did versus Joe Burrow. This guy is injured. He's playing with a bum shoulder. You gotta basically just send all your chips out there. You have nothing to lose at this point with the season. So fuck them up. Fuck shit up. That's my defensive motto. Olave, Thomas, Kamara, all great players. So you got to make sure that, Carr can't get the ball out to these guys. You got to just hit the fucking shit out of them. And Derek Carr is another one of those guys where when you actually start beating him up, his clock slows down, gets rattled. You got to get after him. My second key would probably be, I think if you're going to beat the Saints defense, you got to operate in a quick passing game, especially at this O-line, man. Cam Jordan, he's going to turn whoever he's going against into mincemeat. Carl Granderson, almost called Curtis Granderson, the baseball player. Carl Granderson, a really underrated edge rusher there as well. They have the rookie Brian Brissy. It's a pretty good pass rush there. Demario Davis patrolling the middle of the field. Marshawn Lattimore, he's going to clamp up whoever he's going against. Tyrann Matthews, annoying. But if you're going to get them off their game, you gotta just operate quick. I would say quick, no huddle football this week. Keep it moving. Keep these guys, get them gassed. If you can get the Saints defense off their toes, then you have a real chance of beating them. Those are my takeaways, honestly. Like that it's gonna be an interesting matchup, quite frankly. Both teams are pretty mediocre as it stands. They're kind of underwhelming. Dennis Allen's not a good head coach, but the Saints have a decent roster. So attack him. You guys gotta attack him.
All right. Well, my first key is more Pop Douglas, damn it.
Well, yeah.
Give me more Pop. When he broke that dude's ankles on the Cowboys, I'm like, oh, okay. Here we go. This is the formation of Pop. But he was quickly taken off the field. Thanks, Belichick. Yeah, more Pop. I want more Pop, not just Pop in Douglas, but Pop in the offense. We got to get this thing moving. Like Ryan said, 2011 Patriots. That's the model. Want that quick go, quick plays. Mac, I know your brain's smart enough to handle this. You can run this offense. You did it the first few weeks of the season. Last week was an outlier. Prove everybody wrong again. Please do. Show them that you're capable. That's all I want. Defensively, I think you hit the nail on the head. You got to come at them hard, and I think the Saints are going to operate, assuming that they don't have big plays. Like they got to get this ball out quick, and that's what Derek Carr likes. He likes his quick offense. Patriots, I think, are built to take that away. I think they can do that. And yeah, I think we outlined it pretty well. Those are the two things. We want a quick offense. We want really physical, wear them down defense. And for the love of God, more Pop Douglas. And we will say that week in and week out.
More Pop Douglas and more Juju Smith.
And less Juju Smith. But before we give our predictions, we have our weekly Week 5 picks. Obviously, we go through each game on the schedule. We pick them, say what we think about the games a little bit, and we will send you on your way. In Week 4, finally, I get the win. It's a high-scoring affair here. I beat Ryan with a score of 13-12. No tiebreaker needed. Very happy about that. Very happy about that. I got my win fair and square. No Mickey Mouse points tiebreakers. But we're on to Week 5 with some great games ahead. Let's get to it. Tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football. God, this game should be flexed out to like Wednesday. The Bears, they're going to Washington to take on the Commies. Who you got there and why?
Washington. Yeah, and honestly, it's because I'm actually starting to become a little bit of a Sam Howell believer. This kid's a dog.
Oh, no. He's just a likable Baker Mayfield. Watch.
Hey, respect Faker Mayfield.
No. That's one thing I will not do. I'm with you. Commies all the way. I think the Commies are a sneaky good team. They're going to be competitive in most.
Baker Mayfield.
They're going to be competitive in most, if not all, games. But up next, another London game. The Jaguars stay pat at their second home in the UK. They're taking on the Bills. What do you got in this one?
Of course, maybe one of the best games this week is freaking 9:30 a.m. when I'll be hungover on Sunday. Give me Buffalo. You know,
No
I think
home field advantage to them.
Listen, man, Buffalo steamrolled Miami last week, man. I think Jacksonville is a pretty flawed but talented team, so I think Buffalo they'll beat them.
I am with you. I think it'll be close, but at the end of the day, I'll give Buffalo that win. Up next, the Houston Texans. They got a huge win last week over the Steelers. They're running a little bit of a hot streak now, aren't they? 2 wins in a row.
Houston? Yeah. They beat Jacksonville. Yeah.
Very nice. They're going to Atlanta to take on Arthur Smith, Desmond Ridder, and the Falcons. Who do you got in this one?
CJ Stroud is going to carry Houston. 2. Actually, I don't want to say it because I jinxed Christian Gonzalez. Let's just say there's a certain award in CJ Stroud's future heading his way. Give me Houston.
I took Atlanta. I think that as impressive as Houston's been so far, it's hard to trust that team to keep it rolling. The Falcons, I know I can't. I know that Atlanta isn't in the best of shape either, but for the most part, they stay competitive in their matchups. They have the home field. Something's got to give. Either Houston is legit and Stroud is pushing them on, and they're going to be in contention for the division win, or they'll come crashing back down to earth in typical Houston fashion, and Atlanta, just steals another one. I'll take Atlanta, but it's a coin flip.
Desmond Ridder's the worst quarterback in football right now. Him and Zach Wilson. I mean, Zach Wilson had that.
I agree.
Good game, but
I think the problem in Atlanta is more Arthur Smith than it is Desmond Ridder.
Oh yeah, well, when you have multiple Lamborghinis in your driveway, you drive the Honda Civic. That's how it rolls. Yeah, garbage.
Up next, the Carolina Panthers gave the Vikings their first win last week. They're staying in the NFC North. They're headed to Ford Field to take on the Lions. Lions who been pretty damn impressive this year. Who you got in this one?
Detroit. Carolina, I was higher on them than I should have been, like an idiot. They're terrible, man. The O-line's terrible. Pours Bryce Young in. They have no receivers. They'd really help them. Trash. Give me Detroit.
And the Carolina is reportedly looking into receivers. But I, too, took Detroit. I think it's not going to be pretty. Up next, an AFC South division matchup, the Tennessee Titans, they got their win over Cincinnati last week. They're going to Lucas Oil to take on the Colts. The Colts who have a quarterback that Ryan likes, and I don't yet. But who do you think got in this one?
I have Tennessee beating them. I think Vrabel is going to cook up a good defensive game plan to stop Richardson. And while I do like Anthony Richardson a lot, I still don't really like the Colts roster. And I think
Jonathan Taylor's coming back.
Oh, listen, I'm excited for that, but yeah, it's not gonna look pretty. I don't think. Not this week.
Nope, I'm with you. Tennessee, all the way, overachievers, and they're gonna keep overachieving. Up next, the Giants. They're headed to Miami to take on the pissed off Dolphins. I imagine. I assume you're taking Miami here.
Yeah.
It's good. It's gonna be bad.
Extra commentary. Giants.
It's gonna be really, really bad. Up next, we're gonna skip New England and New Orleans. We're going to talk about the Ravens going to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Kenny Pickett, questionable. I don't think he should play, but he might. The Ravens looking pretty damn good this year. Not gonna lie. Who you got in this one?
Ravens. Fire Matt Canada.
Do you see that thing about his Twitter burner?
Oh, come on. See, I saw that, but I'm like, I don't think that guy is that stupid. I think that's some like Steelers fan just fucking around. I don't know. It'd be hilarious, but I don't think that's the case.
Up next, I took Baltimore as well. Up next, we got the Philadelphia Eagles heading to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. The Rams, another team that's been overachieving, I think. They've looked pretty good despite all the stories surrounding them this offseason. Cooper Kupp is allegedly coming back pretty soon, if not this week. Who do you got in this one?
I got the Eagles.
Okay.
I do think they're a better overall football team than the Rams. Rams will look better than I thought they would, though.
I agree, but I am taking the Rams. I think that this is an upset alert. The Eagles, they got to come off this high eventually, and they almost lost to the Commanders last week. I think Sean McVay is a great coach. Matthew Stafford's a clutch quarterback. If the Eagles give them an opportunity, the Rams are gonna take it. And I think that's gonna be a pretty solid game to watch. Up next, the Bengals beat up, broken, no more T. Higgins, Joe Burrow playing like absolute ass. They're going to the State Farm Stadium to take on the Cardinals, who have overachieved as hell this year. What do you got in this one?
Fuck. If this is a normal circumstances, it's a Cincy lock, but it's not. Burrow's calf is shot right now, man. I'm gonna take Arizona in the upset because I don't think Burrow is able to move, man. Like, he's not able to do anything. He needs to sit out so badly. And the Bengals, for some reason, they're like clinging on for hope. It's like, it's like someone on life support. It's just like, let go. You're not gonna live.
I'm with you. I got Arizona in for the win. The Bengals, if they lose this game, they gotta call it season straight up. They're not healthy. A lot of guys are missing time. Put Burrow on IR. Sit him for 4 weeks.
Yep.
Let him recover. Up next, a game that we all thought had like primetime potential because of all the storylines coming into the season, all the shit talking and whatnot. The Jets, they're heading to Denver to take on the Broncos. Who do you got in this one?
I got the Broncos. Well, it's gonna be a clusterfuck, but Broncos.
I took the Jets. I think they're gonna capitalize on that great game against Kansas City. They're gonna go to Denver, and Denver's just absolute. They're bad. They're bad. Up next, defending Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Does Taylor Swift show up? We don't know. But who do you got in this one?
Kansas City, and please, for the love of God, fuck off Taylor Swift.
I want Minnesota to win desperately, but Kansas City's probably got this dub one in the lock. The Vikings have kind of underachieved this year. Brian Flores hasn't had the impact I thought he would. But
yep.
Up next, a playoff rematch. The Dallas Cowboys, after beating the brakes off of us, they're going to San Francisco on Sunday Night Football to take on Brock Purdy and the Niners. Who do you got in this one?
I got San Francisco. I think they're a better team than Dallas.
I think the talent is about even, but Dallas, they're gonna have their highs and their lows, and
usual Cowboy season.
You're right. And the Niners they kind of remain consistent. I'll take the Niners here in this one. Up next, Green Bay Packers, they're looking to rebound against the Raiders in Vegas. Jimmy G still questionable, but I think he'll play. Who do you got in this one?
I got the Packers. I think the Raiders are a clown show, and while the Packers O-line's pretty bad, I think the Raiders pass rush is also non-existent. So
give me Packers. Jimmy G and the Raiders. I will take the Raiders here at home on Monday Night Football. Give me the Jimmy G W. All he does is win when he's not concussed. What do you got for points in that game for a score?
I'm gonna say 49 points.
49. I took 30. I think it's gonna be a 18-12 kind of game. It's gonna be gross. And we've mapped it out. We've had the wall dressing. We've done everything we could to paint this picture for you. The Saints are coming to Foxboro to take on the Patriots. Ryan, why are the Patriots going to?
I think they're going to win.
Yeah.
But it's going to be an ugly win. And the reason why I say that is because Derek Carr is like a lemon right now. He needs to sit out. That's another case. Like Carr and Burrow should not be playing football games right now. Those guys look cooked. So, yeah, I think they're going to beat the Raiders just based off the fact that they're going to beat the shit out of Derek Carr.
It's going to be a cool, clear day in Foxborough, 63 degrees. Give me the Pats. They are going to take this dub. They're going to turn this season around. They're going to go into what's next week? The Raiders. They're going to go to Vegas. They're going to play this new look-ish Raiders team. You're going to face old nemesis Josh McDaniels and Jacoby Myers and my boy Jimmy Garoppolo. And they're going to go into that game with a real shot to win. And I think they pull off that one too. Unless they lose this one, then I might circle the wagons for a not so great rest of the season. Give me the Pats in a 24-18 win. I'm here for it. I want it. They're gonna do it. Manifesting that energy into us right now. But that will be all from us at Foxboro Beat and the Foxboro BeatCast. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. As usual, like, subscribe, follow the pages on Facebook and Instagram. Share with your friends, whether they're Saints fans or Patriots fans, or they just like watching football and watching nerds talk about it. I've been your host, Caleb. That's been my co-host, Ryan. Any final words before we sign off here?
Yeah, rest in peace to Tim Wakefield. Wanted to bring it up.
Yeah.
And Russ Francis as well.
Russ Francis and Tim. Yeah, we lost some legends here in the Boston sports circle, and I feel like I need to mention it. And if I'm not being controversial enough with this T-shirt, I will say it now. Kurt Schilling, you stupid son of a bitch. I really hate you. Nobody wants you. This is why you're not in the MLB Hall of Fame, because you're a stupid asshole. Fuck Kurt Schilling.
Agreed. Fuck
Say
Schilling.
it with your chest. Say it with your chest.
Fuck Kurt Schilling.
Yeah.
Couldn't let a dying man have privacy in his last fucking couple days.
Rest in peace to Tim Wakefield, and obviously
long live the knuckleball.
Yep, long live the knuckleball, and we're thinking about his family. We're thinking about his wife, who also, unfortunately, Kurt Schilling leaked had pancreatic cancer.
Man,
it's rough. Fuck Kurt Schilling. We'll be back next week to recap this game and then talk about the Raiders. Thank you for listening to the BeatCast. Go Pats.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Foxboro BeatCast. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Instagram.